Once he was in the big leagues, he stayed there for a decade and got himself in the record books in more ways than one. Sad but true, but if you watch my show, you know my dad's collection comes from a time in U.S. history where it didn't matter how good of a person you were, how great in sports you were, or how entertaining you may be in person or on screen. Back then, if you were colored, Negro, black, or possibly black, you were put in a position you should not be put in, especially since this is the 1950s in so-called modern America. It's still hard to believe in the 1960s, there were parts of the country where somebody was still being paid to paint signs that say, no blacks, or whites only. Or a variation of those words. Here we go, another episode where I take you back on a bummer. Hey, you know me, I'll find my way out of it. Or should I say, me and this player will, because he's still around to talk about it. So let's go to Sarasota, Florida. I don't want to, but if Floyd Andrew Robinson can deal with it for half his life, born May 9th, 1936, then we can listen about this outfielder and what he went through during his time in ball. Bats left, throws right. And just be thankful it wasn't us from Prescott, Arkansas, having to deal with what he had to deal with. MLB debut, 1960. It's 1961. Chicago's White Sox spring training camp in Sarasota, Florida. Floyd Robinson is one of 4 black players invited to camp, but told they're not allowed to stay at the team's hotel. That's hotel with an H. The 4 players had arrangements made for them and were basically put out with no choice in the matter, under pressure of locals and local laws. And if you boys are thinking about making trouble, don't. We'll put you in jail for disturbing the peace. And if that's not bad enough, there's a good chance you might get beat up, or the trifecta, getting all the stuff stolen out of your motel room. But the real kicker? If you end up in jail, spring training camp is over, and maybe your future MLB career if you're now labeled a troublemaker. So with all this in mind, Floyd and his 3 new friends head to their spring training accommodations a mile or so away in a motel called the Terrace. Notice I said motel with an M. The owner of this place had been warned not to rent rooms to these players. Now who would have the gall to make such demands? Your local Sarasota chapter of the KKK. Talk about a sketchy setup for Floyd and the boys. You're separated from the team on the wrong side of town. A town that already let you know you're not welcome. So now, in order to get back and forth to camp, they'll have to chip in and find a colored cab or walk through a town full of Klansmen and women all around and probably making themselves obvious. Looks like it's going to be a long spring training dealing with this stuff that no one should have to deal with in a free and democratic society. And when I say this stuff, first and foremost, I'm talking about life and death situations that you find yourself in all because you're you. Second of all, just the uneasiness of being surrounded by so much hate. Floyd saw signs of this hate everywhere, actual hand-painted signs. The signs didn't actually spell out the words hate, but the letters were arranged to say the same thing. The Chicago White Sox would buy the Terrace Motel before the start of their 1962 spring training camp, ending segregation at their camps, thus solving their problem, but not America's. Better late than never, but then again, they were one of the last MLB teams to integrate, so yeah, there is that for what it's worth. Hey, let's talk some baseball. I'm going to do this quick, make myself scarce, and get gone. Just like Floyd and the boys were thinking as they sat around in a crummy motel room in Sarasota, Florida back in '61. Floyd Robinson played for 9 seasons in the majors, 7 with the White Sox, 6 of those great. Played in 1967 with the Reds, and wound up his time in the Big Show in 1968 with the Red Sox. Floyd Robinson would put his name in the MLB record book twice during his career, once for what he did and once for what his manager did. Started playing pro ball in 1954 in the PCL with the San Diego Padres. He was 18. Not sure where or when my dad got his autograph. He saw Floyd play at least 3 times against 3 different teams in 1956 and 1957. After the 57 season, Floyd Robinson joined the Marine Corps and missed 2 years of ball while serving his country. Notice I said his country. The Chicago White Sox had a working agreement with the Padres, and Floyd was called up in 1960. 1961 was his first full season in the majors and had a season that was good enough to be tied for 3rd in Rookie of the Year vote. Floyd Robinson has quite a few baseball cards and is on just about every kind of collectible there was back then. His 62 rookie card is cool with that trophy in the corner, but I really like his 65 tops. That's a beauty. So after a great rookie year, 1962 is also starting off good. On April 17th, Floyd had a real nice day. His White Sox beat the Twins 8-0, and he drove in 7 of those 8 runs, hit a homer, had 2 doubles and 4 hits. Another nice day was on July 22nd when his White Sox beat the Red Sox at Boston's Fenway Park. But calling it another nice day would be an understatement, because what he did on this day, only a handful of players in MLB history have done, and it's a short list. All Floyd Robinson did to put himself in the record book was go 6 for 6 at the plate in a 9-inning game. A rare event. How rare? Between 1954 and 1968, list of players who went 6 for 6 is not even a list. It's just 2 names, the man of the moment and Dick Groat. That's how rare. Even more rare, Floyd hit all singles. Of course, anytime I can bring a legend that my dad has an autograph from into the show, I will do it. Today, that legend would be Ty Cobb, because in 1925, he also went 6 for 6. Wonder if Jack Warner watched from the Tigers' dugout that day and saw Ty Cobb do that. See, that's what I mean about a rabbit hole. Floyd Robinson was 10th in 1962 American League MVP voting. He led the league in doubles, was 4th in RBIs, and tied with Roberto Clemente in batting average. Nice way to end your second full season in the majors. White Sox manager Al Lopez said, "He should have been on the All-Star team. The kid does everything well." The Chicago Tribune wrote, of the 85 wins the White Sox had that season, Floyd drove in 15 game-winning runs. He'd also rank high in MVP voting for 3 other seasons. You fast forward to the winter of 1966, and Floyd is traded to the Reds, hurts his knee, and 1 year later is traded to the newly relocated Kansas City A's, who are now in Oakland. Here are some memorable Floyd Robinson moments as an Oakland A's player, just as his career is winding down. Let's take it from the very first game in Oakland A's franchise history, April 10th, 1968, MLB opening day in Baltimore. Floyd got his name in the record book when he was put in to pinch hit, making him the first ever Oakland A's player to pinch hit for the club. A week later, the A's visit Yankee Stadium for the first time as the Oakland A's. It's the top of the 9th. Floyd is put into pinch hit and proceeds to smack out a 2-run homer, beating the Yanks 4-3. A few weeks later, on June 19th, it's a tie game. Floyd is put into pinch hit. He cracks a double that drives in 2 runs, beating the Orioles. A month later, against his former team, the White Sox, again, it's the top of the 9th. Do I really have to say it? Floyd is put into pinch hit. I think you know what he does. He hits a single, driving in the winning run. But by August, he was traded to the Red Sox and would play in his final game on September 29th. Never once in his career was Floyd sent down to the minors, though he would finish his career in the PCL with the Hawaiian Islanders in 1969 and would have a really good season with them. The next chapter in Floyd Robinson's life would involve the other love of his life, his wife. In 1970, they opened a liquor store that sold groceries and sponsored Little League teams. But what that store is really remembered for was when some folks couldn't pay the gas and electric bill, Floyd would hand them money over the counter. Floyd and his wife looked ahead to bigger projects that could help more people, so they invested in real estate, and after years of wrangling permits and bank loans, they were finally able to set up low-income senior housing complexes in the San Diego area. And in 2007, the Robinsons established the nonprofit Floyd Robinson Foundation that gives premium college grants to local high school students. I love how the Robinsons help our vulnerable, the young, and the old. It's always nice after talking about a player's career to end the show talking about how good a person he was when that career was over. It's even nicer to be able to say the following, knowing the person is around to hear it. In 2009, the San Diego Hall of Champions inducted Floyd Robinson into the Breitbart Hall of Fame, which honors the area's finest athletes for what they did on and off the field during their lifetime. Mr. Robinson has a birthday coming up soon and will be turning 88 years old, and we wish him and his family health and happiness.